6 months had passed since the ambush in the desert. 6 months since Lara dragged Tay across the sand to safety. 6 months since everything changed. Lyra stood in the new hospital on planet Cora. It was bigger than the old one, stronger, built with better defenses. The war was not over, but this area was safer now. The front lines had moved far away. She watched as a transport ship landed in the distance. The doors opened and soldiers walked out. Among them was a figure she knew well. A human with short black hair and a small scar on his left shoulder. Tay was back. He had been away for 2 months, leading a special mission in another sector. They had kept in contact through messages, but it was not the same. Lyra had missed him more than she expected. He walked toward the hospital. When he saw her standing at the entrance, his face lit up with that smile. That warm, bright smile she had seen so many times now. "Hello, partner," he said. "Hello, partner," she replied. They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other. Then Tay did something unexpected. He stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. A hug. A human greeting of affection. Lyra had never been hugged before. Valorians did not touch each other like this. It should have felt strange and uncomfortable. But it did not. It felt right. It felt like coming home. She hugged him back. "I missed you," Tay said, his voice muffled against her shoulder. "I missed you too. The hospital was too quiet without you watching every door." He laughed and stepped back. "How have you been? Are you eating enough? Sleeping enough? You sound like your mother. She would be proud." He grinned. "Speaking of which, she wants to meet you. She says any person who saved her son's life is family." Lyra felt her heart skip. "She wants to meet me?" "Yes. When the war is over, I want to take you to Earth, show you where I grew up, introduce you to my family." He paused. "If you want to." I did not know what to say. "You do not have to say anything now. Just think about it." Lyra nodded. Her mind was spinning. Meeting his family. Going to Earth. These were big things. Human things. But somehow, they did not scare her as much as they used to. They walked into the hospital together, side by side. Other medics and soldiers watched them pass. Everyone knew their story now. The Valorian who dragged her human partner through the desert. The human who took a bullet for his alien medic. They were famous. Some species still did not understand. They looked at Tay with confusion or fear. A Taurian doctor once asked Lyra why she stayed with a human when she could request any partner she wanted. "Because he is my partner," she had said, "and I do not want anyone else." The Taurian had not understood. Lyra did not expect him to. That night, there was a gathering in the hospital common area. New soldiers had arrived, and the staff was welcoming them. Food was shared. Stories were told. For a few hours, the war felt far away. Lyra sat in the corner, watching everyone. Tay sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. "You are quiet tonight," he said. "I am thinking." "About what?" "About how different everything is now. When I first got my assignment, I was terrified. I did not want a human partner. I thought you would be loud and chaotic and dangerous. And now? Now I know I was right. You are loud sometimes. You are chaotic. And you are definitely dangerous." She looked at him. "But you are also kind. And loyal. And brave. You are the best partner I could have asked for." Tay's smile softened. "Thank you, Lyra. That means a lot. I want you to know something," she continued. "When I first met you, I was afraid of humans. Not just you. All humans. The stories made you sound like monsters. I know. We have a reputation. But the stories were wrong. Or maybe they were not wrong, just incomplete. They talked about how humans survive anything. They talked about how humans never give up. But they did not talk about why. Why? Because you love. That is why you survive. That is why you fight. That is why you never give up. Lyra took a breath. Humans are not terrifying because of what you can do. You are terrifying because of how much you care. Your hearts are so full. You attach yourselves to people you barely know. You would die for a stranger if you thought they were worth saving. Tay was quiet. He looked at her with an expression she could not read. Is that a bad thing? He asked softly. No, it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. And I am sorry it took me so long to understand. They sat in silence for a while. The noise of the gathering continued around them. People laughed and talked and ate. But in their little corner, it was just the two of them. Lyra, Tay said finally, I need to tell you something. What? I have been offered a promotion. I could become an officer. Lead my own unit. It would mean more responsibility, better pay, a higher rank. That is wonderful. Congratulations. I turned it down. Lyra stared at him. What? Why? Because being an officer would mean leaving you. I would be transferred to a different division. Different planet. He shook his head. I cannot do that. I do not want to protect anyone else. I want to protect you. For as long as this war lasts and after. Tay, you cannot give up your career for me. I am not giving anything up. I am choosing what matters most. He looked at her with those dark, steady eyes. You matter most. You will always matter most. Lyra felt tears burning in her eyes. Valorian tears were silver, not clear like human tears. She blinked rapidly, trying to hold them back. You are impossible, she said. Her voice was shaking. I know. It is a human thing. She laughed despite herself. And then, because she did not know what else to do, she reached out and took his hand. They sat like that for a long time, holding hands in the corner of the crowded room. Two different species. Two different worlds. Brought together by a war and kept together by something stronger. Love. She finally understood what that word meant. Later that night, Lyra filed a report with Coalition Command. It was a request. A simple one. Permanent partnership assignment. Medic Lyra of Valoria and Private Park. Tay of Earth. Indefinite duration. The request was approved within hours. When she told Tay, he smiled. But this time, there was something new in his eyes. Something bright and warm and full. Partners forever, he said. Partners forever, she agreed. Outside the hospital, the war continued. The galaxy was still dangerous. There would be more battles, more wounded, more loss. But Lyra was not afraid anymore, because she had learned the most important lesson the galaxy had to offer. Having a human beside you meant never standing alone, and standing beside a human meant she was never truly weak. Together, they could face anything, and they would. The medical bay of the Coalition outpost was small but clean. White walls, bright lights, and the steady beeping of machines. Lyra had not left Tay's bedside for 3 days. The doctors at the outpost had done the surgery. They removed the bullet from his shoulder and repaired the damage. But humans were strange creatures. Their bodies healed in ways that confused other species. The doctors did not know how to help him recover. They did not understand human medicine. So Lyra took over. She read every file about human biology she could find. She learned about their blood, their muscles, their bones. She learned that humans needed more sleep when healing. She learned that their bodies needed certain foods to repair themselves. Protein, something called vitamins, and lots of water. She stayed by his bed day and night. She changed his bandages. She gave him medicine when he had a fever. She talked to him even though he could not hear her. You are very stupid, she said on the second night. Who runs into 5 enemy soldiers? With just a rifle? Who keeps fighting after being shot? You could have died. You almost died. And for what? For me? Tay did not answer. He was still unconscious. The machines beeped steadily. I did not ask you to do that, Lyra continued. I did not ask you to be a hero. I just wanted a partner who would not get me killed. Instead, I got a partner who almost got himself killed. For me. She put her head in her hands. I do not understand you. I do not understand humans. You make no sense. On the 3rd day, Tay woke up. Lyra was changing his bandages when his eyes opened. He looked confused at first, staring at the ceiling. Then he turned his head and saw her. Lyra, he said. His voice was rough and weak. You are okay. Of course I am okay. You are the one who got shot. He smiled, that same warm smile. Even now, half dead and barely awake, he smiled. Good, he said. That is good. Lyra felt her eyes burn. She blinked rapidly. Valorians did not cry like humans did, but they felt sadness the same way. Why did you do it? She asked. You could have run. You could have left me. No one would have blamed you. I would have blamed me. Tay tried to sit up and winced. Lyra pushed him gently back down. I told you. Partners do not leave each other behind. That is not a good enough answer. There has to be more. No one risks their life for a stranger. Not like that. Tay was quiet for a moment. He looked at the ceiling again. You are not a stranger, he said finally. You are my partner. That means something to me. It means I am responsible for you. Your life is connected to my life. If you die, a part of me dies too. Does that make sense? No, Lyra said honestly. It does not make sense at all. I know. It is a human thing. We attach ourselves to people. We cannot help it. It is how we are made. He looked at her again. The moment I met you, you became important to me. Not because of what you can do. Not because you are a good medic. Just because you are you. Just because you exist. Lyra did not know what to say. This was the most confusing thing she had ever heard. How could someone become important just by existing? How could a stranger become family in a single moment? That is terrifying, she said. I know. Humans are terrifying. Everyone says so. He laughed a little, then coughed. Lyra quickly gave him water. Rest now, she said. You can explain more crazy human things later. Will you stay? Of course I will stay. I am your partner. Partners do not leave each other behind. Tay smiled and closed his eyes. In moments, he was asleep again. Lyra sat back in her chair and watched him breathe. Her mind was full of thoughts she could not organize. Before this, she had thought she understood the galaxy. She understood medicine and science and logic. She understood that beings acted in their own interest. She understood that everyone wanted to survive. But Tay did not fit into that understanding. He had acted against his own interest. He had risked his survival for hers. And he had done it without hesitation, without doubt. Like it was the most natural thing in the world. Maybe it was. Maybe for humans, that was natural. She thought about the stories she had heard about humans. They were relentless. They were emotional. They were dangerous. All of those things were true. But the stories had missed something important. Humans were relentless because they cared. They kept going because someone they loved was depending on them. Their emotions were not weakness. Their emotions were power. They could push through pain and exhaustion and fear because their hearts were full of something bigger than themselves. That was the real reason humans were scary. Not because they could survive anything, because they would survive anything for the people they loved. Over the next few days, Tay slowly got stronger. He could sit up, then stand, then walk around the room. Lyra watched every step, ready to catch him if he fell. You do not have to hover over me, Tay said one afternoon. I am not going to break. You already broke. I'm making sure you do not break again." He laughed, a real laugh, strong and warm. Lyra realized she had never heard him laugh before. It was a nice sound. "Can I ask you something?" Tay said, double quotes. "Yes. Why did you drag me to the outpost? You could have gone for help. You could have left me and come back with soldiers. It would have been safer." Lyra thought about it. She remembered that night. The weight of his body, the sand under her feet, the lights getting closer so slowly. "I do not know," she said. "I just knew I could not leave you. You had protected me for so long. It was my turn to protect you." That sounds like a human thing to say. Maybe. Lyra looked at him. Maybe you are contagious. Maybe being around humans makes other species act like humans. Tay smiled. Is that a bad thing? Lyra thought about it. Really thought about it. "No," she said. "I do not think it is." That night, Lyra received a message on her communicator. The hospital on Cora had been rebuilt. They needed medics. She was being reassigned. She read the message 3 times. Then she walked to Tay's room. He was sitting on his bed, reading something on a tablet. He looked up when she came in. "I got my new assignment," she said. "Back to Cora. The hospital is open again." "That is good. They need you there." The message did not mention you. It said nothing about a partner assignment. Tay put down the tablet. His face was calm, but Lyra could see something in his eyes. Something sad. "I am still recovering. They probably want to give me a different assignment. Something less dangerous. Probably." They looked at each other. The silence was heavy. "I want you to come with me," Lyra said. The words came out before she could stop them. "I do not want a different partner. I want you." Tay's eyes widened. Then that smile appeared again. That warm, bright smile that made everything feel okay. "Really? Really? You are difficult and confusing, and you make terrible decisions like running at enemy soldiers alone. But you are my partner, and I do not want to do this without you." Tay stood up. He walked over to her, moving slowly because his shoulder still hurt. "Then I will talk to the command center," he said. "I will ask for reassignment to Cora. Will they allow it? I do not know, but I will try. For you, I will try." Lyra felt that feeling in her chest again, that loosening of a knot. But this time, it was different. This time, the knot did not just loosen Dot. It disappeared completely. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for everything." Tay reached out and took her hand. His skin was still warm, still rough, but familiar now. Comforting. "That is what partners do," he said, and for the first time, Lyra understood what that really meant. 3 weeks passed on planet Cora. Lyra and Tay fell into a routine. She healed the wounded. He watched over her. Every day was the same. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. The war felt far away. Then everything changed. It was early morning when the alarm sounded. A loud screaming noise that made Lyra jump out of her bed. Red lights flashed everywhere. Tay burst through her door. He was already in full gear, his rifle ready. "We have to move," he said. "Enemy forces are coming. The hospital is being evacuated." "What? How is that possible?" This area was supposed to be safe. It was. It was. They found a way through the defense lines. Tay grabbed her medical bag and threw it over his shoulder. "No time to explain. We need to get to the transport ships. Now." They ran outside. The camp was chaos. Soldiers were running everywhere. Ships were taking off, one after another. Lyra could hear explosions in the distance, getting closer. Tay pulled her toward the landing area. His hand was tight around her arm. Not painful, but firm. He was not going to let her go. They were halfway there when the first ship exploded. A ball of fire rose into the orange sky. Pieces of metal flew in all directions. The heat wave knocked Lyra off her feet. She hit the ground hard, her ears ringing. "Get up!" Tay was pulling her. "We have to keep moving." She stood. Her legs were shaking. Another explosion, closer this time. Then another. The enemy was bombing the landing area. There were no more ships. "This way," Tay said. He changed direction, pulling her toward the perimeter fence. "We need to get out of the camp. Find cover in the desert." They ran to the fence. Tay cut through it with a tool from his belt. They squeezed through the hole and kept running. Behind them, the hospital burned. They ran for what felt like hours. The sun climbed higher in the orange sky. The heat was terrible. Lyra's lungs burned. Her legs felt like they were made of stone. But Tay kept pulling her forward, never slowing down. Finally, they reached a group of large rocks. A small cave opened between them, just big enough for two people to hide. "In here," Tay said. "We need to rest and figure out our next move." They crawled into the cave. It was cool and dark inside. Lyra collapsed against the wall, gasping for air. "Water," Tay said. He pulled a bottle from his pack and gave it to her. "Drink slowly." She drank. The water was warm, but wonderful. She had never been so thirsty in her life. While she drank, Tay checked his equipment. He pulled out a small radio and tried different frequencies. Nothing but static. "Communications are down," he said. "The enemy must be jamming signals." He put the radio away. "We are on our own. What do we do?" Lyra asked. She was scared. She could not hide it. "We wait until dark. Then we move. There is a coalition outpost about 30 miles north. If we can reach it, we will be safe." 30 miles? I cannot walk 30 miles. You will not have to walk all of it. We will rest when we need to. And I will carry you if I have to. Lyra stared at him. "You cannot carry me 30 miles. Tay just smiled. "You would be surprised what humans can do." They rested in the cave until the sun began to set. Tay shared his food with her. It was not much. Some dry crackers and a protein bar. But it gave her strength. When the sky turned dark, they started moving. Tay led the way. He moved carefully, checking every direction before taking a step. Lyra followed close behind. The desert was cold at night, and she was shivering. Tay noticed and gave her his jacket. "You need it more than me," he said. "Humans are good at handling temperature changes." She wanted to refuse, but she was too cold. She put on the jacket. It was warm and smelled like him, like soap and metal and something else she could not name. They walked for hours. The moons rose high in the sky, casting silver light on the red sand. Lyra's feet hurt. Her whole body hurt, but she kept moving. She had to. Then she heard it. Voices. And not friendly ones. Tay heard them too. He grabbed her arm and pulled her down behind a sand dune. They lay flat against the ground, not moving, not breathing. A group of soldiers walked past. They were Varkoni, the enemy, tall and dark, with 4 eyes and sharp claws. They were speaking in their rough language, laughing about something. Lyra's hearts were pounding so hard, she was sure they could hear them. She pressed her face into the sand and prayed. The soldiers kept walking. They did not see the 2 figures hiding in the shadows. When they were gone, Tay let out a slow breath. "That was close," he whispered. "We need to move. They are patrolling this area. There will be more." They stood up and started walking again. Faster now. Tay was almost running. Lyra struggled to keep up. They came over a small hill and walked right into an ambush. 5 Varkoni soldiers stood in front of them. Their weapons were raised. Their 4 eyes glowed in the dark. Lyra froze. Her mind went blank. She could not move. could not think. Tay did not freeze. He moved so fast Lyra could barely see him. He pushed her to the ground and raised his rifle. 3 shots, 3 soldiers down. The other 2 returned fire. Lyra heard the horrible sound of bullets cutting through the air above her head. Tay was hit. She saw it happen. A bullet struck his shoulder. Blood sprayed into the night air. But he did not fall. He did not even slow down. He kept firing, kept moving. 2 more shots. The last 2 soldiers fell. Then silence. Tay stood over her, breathing hard. Blood was running down his arm, dripping onto the sand. His face was pale but focused. "Are you hurt?" he asked. His voice was strained. "No, but you are. Your shoulder." "I know. I can feel it." He tried to move his left arm and winced. "The bullet is still inside. We need to keep moving. More will come when these ones do not report back. You cannot keep moving. You are bleeding too much." "I can. And I will." He reached down and pulled her to her feet. "We are only 5 miles from the outpost. We can make it. Tay, please, let me look at your wound." "No time." He started walking, holding his rifle in one hand. His other arm hung at his side, useless. "I will be fine. Humans are hard to kill. Remember the stories?" Lyra followed him. She had no choice. But she watched the blood drip from his arm, leaving a trail in the sand behind them. They walked, and walked, and walked. Tay got slower. His steps became uneven. His breathing became rough. He was losing too much blood. Lyra knew the signs. She had seen soldiers die from less. "Tay," she said, "we need to stop. You are going to die if we do not stop. If we stop, they will find us. And then we will both die." He kept walking. "I did not come this far to let that happen. Why? Why do you keep going? Why do you care so much about saving me?" Tay stopped. He turned to look at her. His face was gray now. His eyes were losing focus. But he smiled that warm smile one more time. "Because you are my partner," he said. "And partners do not leave each other behind." Then he collapsed. Lyra caught him before he hit the ground. He was heavy, but she held on. She could see lights in the distance. The outpost. They were so close. She could not carry him. She was not strong enough. But she could drag him. So that is what she did. She grabbed his arms and pulled. 1 step at a time. Through the sand. Through the night. Toward the lights. And she did not stop until she reached them. The transport ship shook as it entered the atmosphere of planet Cora. Lyra gripped the edges of her seat. She did not like flying. She did not like shaking. She did not like any of this. Across from her, Tay sat calmly. His eyes were closed. His hands rested on his knees. He looked like he was sleeping, but Lyra knew he was not. Humans had a strange ability to rest while staying alert. It was one of the many things about them that made no sense. The ship shook again, harder this time. Lyra made a small sound of fear. She could not help it. Tay opened his eyes. He looked at her with a soft expression. "It is just turbulence," he said. "The ship is fine. We will land in 10 minutes. "How do you know the ship is fine?" Lyra asked. Her voice was shaky. "I have been on hundreds of these flights. The ship only has problems when it makes a certain sound. A high screaming noise. Do you hear that noise?" Lyra listened. She only heard the normal rumble of the engines. "No," she said. "Then we are fine." Tay smiled. "Try to breathe slowly. In through your nose, out through your mouth." "It helps." Lyra tried it. In through her nose, out through her mouth. Again, again. Her heart slowed down a little. The shaking did not seem so bad now. "Thank you," she said quietly. Tay nodded and closed his eyes again. The ship landed without any problems. The door opened and hot, dry air rushed in. Planet Korra was a desert world. The sky was orange and the ground was red sand. In the distance, Lyra could see the field hospital. It was a collection of large white tents surrounded by a metal fence. "Stay close to me," Tay said. He picked up his rifle and his pack. "The area is supposed to be safe, but I like to be careful." They walked across the sand toward the hospital. Tay walked a little bit ahead of her and to the side. Lyra noticed that he positioned himself between her and the open desert. He was blocking her from any possible attack. He did this naturally, without thinking. It was the first time she had ever felt protected. Inside the hospital, everything was chaos. There were wounded soldiers everywhere. Doctors and medics rushed between beds. The air smelled like blood and medicine and fear. A Taurian doctor approached them. He was tall and gray, with 4 arms and no hair. "You are the new medic?" he asked Lyra. "Yes, I am Lyra. This is my partner Tay." The Taurian barely looked at Tay. Most species ignored humans. They thought humans were primitive. "Good. We need help immediately. There was a battle yesterday. Many wounded. Go to Tent 4. You will work there." Lyra nodded and started walking. Tay followed her silently. Tent 4 was full of injured soldiers. Most of them were Keldari. They had green skin and long ears. Their wounds were bad. Burns, broken bones, deep cuts. Lyra felt her training take over. She forgot her fear and got to work. For hours, she moved from bed to bed. She cleaned wounds. She gave medicine. She held hands and spoke soft words to soldiers who were scared. This was what she was good at. This was why she had become a medic. Tay stayed near the entrance of the tent. He watched everyone who came in and out. He never sat down. He never complained. He just stood there, alert and quiet. Every hour, he brought her water. "You need to drink," he said the first time. "The air here is very dry. Your body will lose water fast." Lyra had not noticed she was thirsty until he mentioned it. She drank the whole cup. The second time, he brought water and a small piece of bread. "You have not eaten all day," he said. "You cannot help others if you fall down from hunger." She ate the bread quickly. It was simple but good. The third time, he brought water and stood beside her while she treated a badly burned soldier. "You are doing well," he said quietly. "You have saved many lives today." Lyra looked up at him. No one had ever said that to her before. Medics were expected to save lives. It was their job. No one thanked them for it. "I am just doing my work," she said. "I know, but you are doing it very well. I wanted you to know." She did not know what to say, so she just nodded and went back to her patient. That night, when the work finally slowed down, Lyra sat outside Tent 4. She was exhausted. Every part of her body ached. The moons of Korra hung in the orange sky, 2 pale circles of light. Tay sat down next to her. He was still wearing his full gear. His rifle was still in his hands. He had not rested at all. "Are you not tired?" Lyra asked. "Yes," Tay said, "but I can rest later. Right now, I am on duty." "On duty?" "Nothing happened today. No enemies came. That does not matter. My job is to protect you. I cannot protect you if I am sleeping." Lyra shook her head. "That is too much. You cannot stay awake forever. I will sleep when you sleep. In a safe place, behind locked doors." He looked at her. "That is how it works. I rest when you rest. I eat when you eat. My schedule follows yours." This was strange to Lyra. Among her people, everyone took care of themselves. They did not attach their lives to another person like this. "Why?" she asked. Why do humans do this? Why do you give so much for someone you just met? Tay was quiet for a moment. He looked up at the moons. When I was a child, he said slowly, my mother was very sick. She almost died. A doctor saved her life. I never forgot that. I decided then that I would spend my life helping people who help others. He looked at her. Medics help others. So I help medics. It is simple. Lyra felt that strange feeling in her chest again. That loosening of a knot. Your mother, she said. Is she okay now? Yes, she is healthy. She sends me messages every week. She always asks if I am eating enough. Lyra almost laughed. It was such a small, normal thing. A mother worrying about her son's food. She had not expected humans to be so ordinary. We should go inside, Tay said. You need sleep. Tomorrow will be another long day. He stood up and offered her his hand. She took it and let him pull her to her feet. Tay, she said. Thank you. For the water. And the food. And for watching the tent. He smiled that warm smile again. That is what partners do, he said. They walked back to the sleeping quarters. Tay checked every corner, every shadow. He opened her door and looked inside the room before letting her enter. Lock the door, he said. I will be right outside if you need anything. You are going to sleep outside my door? Just for tonight. Until I know this place is safe. Lyra wanted to argue. She wanted to tell him it was too much. But she was too tired. And there was something comforting about knowing he would be there. Good night, Tay, she said. Good night, Lyra. Sleep well. She closed the door and locked it. Then she lay down on the small bed and closed her eyes. For the first time since she got her assignment, she did not feel afraid. She felt safe, and that scared her most of all, because she was starting to understand something about humans. Something the stories never mentioned. They did not just protect your body. They made you feel like you mattered, and that was far more dangerous than any weapon. Lyra stood in the hallway of the Coalition Command Center. Her four-fingered hands were shaking. She looked at the paper in her hand for the 5th time. The words had not changed. They still said the same thing. Partnership assignment, human soldier, Private Park Tay, Earth Division. A human. They had paired her with a human. Lyra was a Valorian. Her people were tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. They were known across the galaxy as healers and medics. They did not fight. They saved lives. That was their purpose. But this war had changed everything. The Coalition needed every species to work together. Doctors had to go to the battlefield now. And every medic needed a soldier partner to protect them. Lyra had hoped for a Taurian partner. The Taurians were calm and logical. Or maybe a Keldari. They were quiet and careful. But a human? That was the worst possible match. She had heard the stories about humans. Everyone had heard them. Humans were new to the galaxy. They had only joined the Coalition 50 years ago. But in that short time, they had become famous. And not in a good way. Humans were emotional. They made decisions based on feelings, not logic. They formed strange attachments to other beings. They called it friendship or love. These concepts confused most species in the galaxy. But the most terrifying thing about humans was their bodies. They could survive almost anything. They could lose blood and keep fighting. They could break bones and still walk. They healed faster than any species anyone had ever seen. Some said humans did not feel pain like normal beings did. Lyra had seen videos of human soldiers in battle. She had watched a human take 3 shots to the chest and keep running toward the enemy. She had seen a human carry 2 wounded allies on his back for 10 miles through a desert. She had seen a human fight for 3 days without sleep. These creatures scared her, and now she had to work with one. "You look worried," said a voice behind her. Lyra turned around. Her friend Myra was standing there. Mira was also a Valorian medic. They had trained together for 2 years. "I got a human," Lyra said. She held up the paper. Myra's dark eyes went wide. "Oh no, I am so sorry. What am I going to do? I cannot work with a human." "They are too." "Too much," Myra nodded. She understood. "Maybe you can request a change?" "I already tried." They said no. "All the assignments are final." Lyra put the paper in her pocket. "I have to meet him in 1 hour." "Him?" "Yes, Park Tae. That is his name." Myra made a face. Human names are so short. How do they tell each other apart? Lyra did not answer. She was too worried to think about names. 1 hour later, Lyra walked into meeting room 7. Her legs felt weak. Her hearts were beating fast. Valorians had 2 hearts, and right now both of them were pounding. The room was small and gray. There was a table in the middle with 2 chairs. One chair was empty. In the other chair sat a human. He was smaller than she expected. Lyra was tall, even for a Valorian. This human was shorter than her by almost a head. He had black hair cut very short and brown skin. His eyes were dark and shaped differently than hers. He was wearing the green uniform of the Earth Division Dot. When he saw her, he stood up. And then he did something strange. He smiled. It was not a threatening smile. It was not the smile of a predator showing its teeth. It was soft and warm, like sunlight on water. His whole face changed when he smiled. He looked almost friendly. "Hello," he said. His voice was calm and quiet. "You must be Lyra. I am Tae. It is nice to meet you." He held out his hand. Lyra stared at it. She knew this was a human greeting. They touched hands when they met someone new. It was strange, but she did not want to be rude. She reached out and took his hand. His skin was warm. Much warmer than hers. Humans had higher body temperatures than most species. His hand was rough, with small hard spots on the palm. But his grip was gentle. He did not squeeze too hard. "Hello," Lyra said. Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. They sat down across from each other. Tae was still smiling. Why did he keep smiling? It made her nervous. "I read your file," Tae said. "You graduated top of your class at the medical academy. That is very impressive." Lyra blinked. "You read my file?" "Of course. We are going to be partners. I wanted to know about you." He leaned forward a little. "I also read about Valorians. Your people have been healers for over 10,000 years. That is amazing." No one had ever called her people amazing before. Most species thought Valorians were weak because they did not fight. "I also read that Valorians do not like loud noises or sudden movements," Tae continued. "I will try to be careful about that. If I do something that bothers you, please tell me. I want you to feel comfortable." Lyra did not know what to say. This was not what she had expected. Where was the wild, emotional creature from the stories? This human seemed thoughtful. "I have a question," she said. "Yes? Are you not angry that you have to protect the medic? Most soldiers want to be in the front lines, fighting, not babysitting." Tae shook his head. "No, I am not angry. Protecting someone is important work. Medics save lives. Without medics, soldiers would die. So protecting a medic means protecting everyone she will save in the future." He paused. "That sounds like a very important job to me." Lyra felt something strange in her chest. It was like a knot loosening, just a little bit. "We ship out tomorrow," Tae said. "Our first mission is on planet Korra. There is a field hospital there that needs help. It should be mostly safe. A good first mission for us to learn to work together." He stood up and gave her another smile. Get some rest tonight. Lyra, I will see you in the morning." Then he walked out of the room. Lyra sat there alone for a long time. She was still scared, but now she was also confused. Maybe humans were not exactly what the story said, or maybe this one was different. She would find out soon enough.